Jim Pillen announced a new career pathway for students at Metropolitan Community College in Omaha. First Alert 6's Philip Catafimo shares how this will get more folks into high-paying jobs and ease some of those financial burdens when it comes to paying for school.
I think it's really a big day for creating opportunities to lift people up, and obviously it has a big impact on workforce development.
As part of the Trump administration's Working Families Tax Cuts Act, the Workforce Pell Grant is designed to fill workforce needs in Nebraska.
Workforce Pell really guides students into the workforce. Short-term credentials, 8 weeks to 3 months to 6 months training into a job.
MCC is one of a few community colleges in the U.S. and the only institute in Nebraska offering this option at launch.
I'm proud to say that MCC is helping redefine higher education in the nation, and then really we're providing greater access and leveling the playing field so all people can gain access to higher education.
4 programs at MCC are approved for the program already, like CDL, phlebotomy, and pharmacy technician. Workforce Pell is similar to Career Forward, already in use at Metro since the pandemic.
We had over 2,000 students participate in Career Forward, and those 4 programs served as a pretty significant workforce credential that was very tried and true in terms of placement and the course completion rates.
Eligible students can use Pell Grants to help pay for tuition and related costs in educational programs that prepare them for high-earning, high-demand jobs in these fields, like Terrence Turner, who's currently earning his CDL at MCC.
A great opportunity for me to have this program available, being fresh out of prison and not having the resources and money to pay for this myself.
Reporting in Omaha, I'm Philip Catafimo, First Alert 6.
MCC plans to add more eligible programs like its new biotech credential launching next year. More information on how to apply for the Workforce Pell program can be found connected to this story at firstalertsix.com.